Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and today's video is going to be all about one of the originals of World of Tanks, and it's so refreshing when one of the originals, even after you have whole new tech trees, whole new nations, power creep premiums, all going into the game, that it still feels like one of the best, at least for me. This is the Tier 7 American heavy tank. It is the T29, and this vehicle, when I first played it, back I guess in 2011 now, really showed me what hold down potential was all about in World of Tanks. A couple of days ago I was talking about side scraping, that this vehicle, it can side scrape okay, but because the turret is mounted clearly at the front part of the hull, that means that you can work ridgelines very well. But even when you get on maps where there aren't too many ridgelines to work, there are still good opportunities for you to only expose that turret armor and really go after your opponents. The turret armor on this tank is 279.4 millimeters thick. And when you get into a matchup like this, when there aren't any tier 9 vehicles, they're going to be slinging gold rounds at you, your armor just feels utterly incredible. I would expose this turret against pretty much everything. Pretty much everything apart from the tier 7 self-propelled gun, the tier 7 self-propelled gun, the GW Panther on the enemy team, who absolutely clouted me for a couple of hundred damage. So, pretty miserable start for this vehicle so far. We didn't manage to pen the IS-2, and that is because this vehicle, it doesn't have the best aim time, and it definitely doesn't have the best gun handling. 2.3 seconds is not awful for a fairly large caliber gun for this tier 7. But yeah, the gun handling, I think I would be lying if I said that it was awesome. But this 105mm has very decent penetration on its standard rounds at 198 and good high explosive rounds as well. So even if you were to play this vehicle free to play, you would still be very competitive. 200 is enough to deal with every tier 7 tank and below. But of course, if you do decide to be a little bit filthy, then you can load the gold, and then you've got 245mm of penetration, which works out very well for your high tiered opponents. You just saw me make good use of high explosive rounds on this vehicle, however. We dealt 127 damage just splashing on top of the T20 HTC. And talking about T20 HTCs, I'm going to try and work with this T20 HTC to go after this KV2. Now a KV2 is something you definitely don't want to let shoot you, but obviously you can punish it with its long reload. We can see that my KV2 is going to be under a lot of pressure from the onslaughing threat of medium and heavy tanks towards the west. Or shall I say just heavy tanks and then the Leo propping them up behind them. And I feel like my T28 HTC should be able to handle the KV2. Surely he's going to be able to handle that situation. You got this right, guys. And instead, I'm going to go and help out Marco, C10, in the KV2, who is asking for help right now. But I'm thinking, well, Marco, you must be reloading for a very long time, bud. When are you going to come out of your corner and actually make a hit on these tanks? So that was actually poor reactions by me. Good job by the IS-2S. He juked me. He played well. I didn't clutch react that shot in. But okay, there you go. Good job, Marco. Marco actually managed to get a really sneaky shot in there. Where did he manage to hit that player through? I guess it's because there's just a huge space in the rubble. Oh, wait. No. I see what Marco's planning to do. There's actually a gap here where I guess there's been a hole blown in the wall, and Marco makes a kill shot there on the KV1S on the enemy team, the equal tier heavy tank to Marco. To get us back into this game, really. We're down by 2 vehicles, and I've had a very lackluster game for a T29. This doesn't really feel like a hero result. And oh dear, there's a T3485M, and everyone knows T3485M's fire gold, so I over-angle my armor there a little bit to try and bait him into shooting my side, and luckily he falls for it. Doesn't shoot the front of this tank, where his gold rounds could have easily penetrated, because this vehicle's hull armor, spoilers, it's not great. It's 102mm thick, and it's not until you get the T32 where your hull armor really starts to work. So you want to do everything that you can to hide your hull armor on this vehicle, or at least prop up the front to try and use some of your gun depression to be able to go after your opponents. But oh dear, I have no idea what that GW Panther was doing. But again, Marco is very insistent on his killer position here. I mean, it worked for him once, so I now understand why Marco was just hiding in this hole a little bit. And you'll see that I look around. I ask him for help. I hope he's going to help me. And I didn't at the time actually figure out that Marco had this lovely opportunity. And it's so awesome to go and review this replay and to realize that he's being incredibly sneaky and just hoping that the OI is going to come round so he can shoot him through this gap. But also, Marco, when we're in a situation where we are fighting a 4 versus 7 situation, which turns into a 4 versus 6 situation, yeah, Marco, we're going to have to fight out as well. So I'm going to hopefully be able to get a shot here into the IS-2S. I'm very happy that that high rolled for 342 out of 320, which allows me to shut him down. But now I'm worried that the OI is going to be able to hurt Marco, but luckily the OI misses. Marco retains all of his hit points, and now this game is starting to look like it's a lot more in our favor. So I'm going to fire gold rounds here at the OI, because one bounce in this scenario is just going to, it could prove fatal. All it takes is one bounce in the OI to be able to get a lucky overmatch with the armor piercing rounds he could be firing with the derp, and we're in a whole world of hurt. Okay, so now, Marco, it's up to you and me, bud. We got a full health E25 on the enemy team, and we got a T34 85M as well. And luckily for us, it looks like the artillery was trying to come round to get a Jaxi shot into the back of Marco, but that is not going to go well. So now we're hopefully going to play Fox and Hounds here. Now we're in the heavy tanks, and the M44, if he's got the top engine, is actually significantly faster than this vehicle, so we have to watch out for that. I decided to blind fire, but in retrospect reviewing, man, my marksmanship was not the best in this replay. I fire flush into the wall. I must have been Sleepy Baby during this game. But even Sleepy Baby manages to hit the M44 when you have the whole of the broadside. And unfortunately for us, we're actually low roll. And you'll see that I'm constantly looking behind me, just worried that the high DPM Tier 6 Soviet medium tank, or the even higher DPM Tier 7 German tank destroyer is going to find the back of my tank and be able to shut me down. Alright, so Marco's got him one side. Looks like Marco misses, and unfortunately for me, Marco, you should have taken your time, but it looks like Marco might have been stunned. And he actually took 135 damage, which is either an incredible low roll from the T34 85M, or more likely a round from the E25, who has 135 alpha damage. So that M44 was actually incredibly sneaky and played very well there, after Marco missed the shot, probably because of the stun from the artillery, or just because of bad luck from the RNG. We can't all have the RNG that we saw a few days ago in the KV2, right? The artillery tries to take this opportunity for the long reloading KV2 to actually try and bomb it past him, avoid me, and possibly he could have just got away there, and that would have been an absolute disaster for us. So good try by the M44 on the enemy team, but luckily we managed to catch them. And I believe Marco actually reversed to be able to get out of my way there. But unfortunately now, with Marco on low hit points, he is a one-shot guaranteed from either of the two vehicles on the enemy team. So we've got to watch out now. Marco is vulnerable, and if he manages to get caught out, then the E25 could isolate me and pretty much drive into me and probably kill me. I've got 1,684 base damage per minute in this vehicle. I like to prop that up with vents, vertical stabilizers, and obviously the gun rammer as well. If you're so inclined, you might want to drop the vents on this tank to get coated optics if you absolutely want to spot at decent distances, but remember that your all-round capacity of your vehicle will be worse. So I'm asking my team how much hit points the E25 has been left on. It's very important because in this situation, I just want to try and create this defensive location. I mean, this is just a beautiful opportunity. Lots of windows for me to fire out, and it's going to be hard for the enemy team to be able to ambush us if we've also got a KV2 helping us out. The issue here is that if the E25 manages to find us at a funny angle, he has got Tier 9 tank destroyer damage per minute. He's going to be packing at least 3,000 DPM. So he's going to have pretty much double what I have, and so if he's on full hit points and I've taken a hit, then he's going to be able to shut me down quickly. And there he is, E25 on full hit points. He actually gets spotted, and I have no idea how he managed to get spotted there. It must have been Marco, and I think the E25 maybe thought that I had gone off somewhere else, and so now the E25 is in a terrible situation. He obviously wanted to finish off the KV2, but then Marco shuts him down. You'll see that I say thank you to Marco behind me. He one-shots the Tier 7 German tank destroyer, and all of a sudden it's looking like we are in this game. And I decide to invite Marco to a platoon to become unexpected friends in this game as well, because why not? And also, maybe we can even get a cheeky Brothers in Arms medal. Now, I won't just invite random players to get Brothers in Arms medal. It doesn't just quite feel right. But after that shell, and after especially reviewing that Marco is just working so well with me, and I actually get spotted by the T3485. Marco, don't come around the corner, buddy. Don't get hit by the T3485M. Okay, good. I tell Marco, stay safe. Don't come with me. Marco says, okay. And then hopefully I'm going to give a hint now to Marco to follow me up and to basically try and... I want him to wait on this corner because I'm expecting the T3485M to run away towards the east. So as I was saying, I don't want to just get Brothers in Arms medals with anyone. It's not like you've had a different kind of game and you just see someone with 3 kills at the end and you invite them to a platoon just to cheese out that medal. But I love inviting people to be able to come together at the end of the game and see if we can manage to take this one down. Alright, so T3485M, right now it's just about locking him in place, making sure that Marco doesn't die, otherwise we will lose that Brothers in Arms medal, and just getting revenge on the T3485M for that gold round he put in front of me earlier. But I can't really say much. I fired quite a few gold rounds in this game, and considering that I'm a top tier heavy tank, it's dubious even whether I needed to. But again, with the bad DPM of this vehicle, one bounce could have been an absolute disaster. And I think against the OI, and possibly even against some of the top tier heavies, it was probably the best result. Okay, T3485M, are you going to come around this corner? Come on, buddy. There you go. Oh dear, he got locked down. Is he going to use his repair kit? I'm actually not going to use my repair kit here. And the reason why I don't use my repair kit is because he's shooting my outside tracks. If I used my repair kit and he shot my inside tracks and locked me in place, then maybe he could 100 to 0 me. Why would I take the risk? Don't ever repair unless you have just taken a hit, unless you think you can avoid taking more damage, if that makes sense. So the T3485M decides to go round, and it looks like he's actually run out of gold ammunition. I ram him a little bit, I bounce him again, and the T29 secures the prey. Oh yeah. What a round of World of Tanks. This one had everything for me. Marco says GGGGG in the chat, and Marco, you know what? I'll agree with you, bud. This was a GGGGG. You've got to love one of the best tech tree tanks in the game, and one of the originals teaming up with one of probably the most fun tech tree tanks that you can play in the game, aka the KV2, taking down what just felt like a classic round of World of Tanks. So an ace tanker, high caliber, and Brothers in Arms here for the T29. With 3,600 damage is not exactly the best game ever for a T29, but considering how involved we were in the game throughout, we actually get a fairly nice amount of base experience of 1,532. And a big shout out to Marco as well, who finishes second and second respectively on damage and experience, and it was a pleasure. Couldn't have done this without you. I would have definitely been swarmed, and I loved being almost back to back together on Runeberg, shutting down the vehicles one by one, and especially Marco, that clutch kill on the E25, that one was juicy. I will admit fully, however, during the gameplay, I actually thought that Marco was a complete and utter scrublord, and I think I was blaming him at the time for saying, why doesn't he come out? Why doesn't he shoot? Why doesn't he help? Is the KV2 AFK? And I had no idea about that shot that Marco had through the rubble of the wall. And in retrospect, it makes me realize that maybe you shouldn't be so hasty to judge someone quickly. It was really refreshing to have my initial impressions of Marco just completely obliterated with seeing how much they wanted to jump together and work together at the end of the game. And personally, I think Marco said it best. GG, GG. GG to you, Marco. And a final mention should be made to the fact that the T29 is still an absolute awesome vehicle. It might not be quite as good as it was back in the day, considering there are so many incredibly powerful tier 8 vehicles in the game now that inevitably it has to deal with when it doesn't get favorable matchmaking like this. But it still feels like it has enough of the raw statistics and capabilities, if you know how the vehicle works, to get into a position, to get it hulled down, and just to absolutely smash it out. And it still has a massive seal of approval from me as still being one of the most enjoyable tech tree tanks to play. And I think if I wasn't quite so long in the tooth, then I didn't feel a lot more happy playing it tier 8, 9 and 10 these days, as undoubtedly there are a lot more newer players at tier 6 and tier 7, and it feels a bit like seal clubbing in a vehicle like this. That by no means that all of you out there who maybe don't quite feel so confident playing at the high tiers shouldn't look this one up if you've maybe overlooked it, and you might even want to revisit it if you skipped out on it, making your way up the American heavy tank tech tree. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, that's it for today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And just a heads up, tomorrow is one of my favorite days of the year. And that is that there's going to be a charity marathon stream from midday to midnight. We're going to be raising money for cancer research and special effect. And hopefully I'm going to see all of you there. And there'll also be a highlights video from last year going up tomorrow that Phil has made, so you can see a bit of what has gone on. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.